I got something in front of us. There you go. We're gone now. Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. The Power is Within podcast. Joining me here tonight are the birds of Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Yes, that's where I'm at tonight. Travel, travel. The money will return, but the time won't. Don't wait till you're 60, well, I'm 62, but I've been traveling for a long time. Don't wait till you're 62 years old to travel, or 70, because guess what? You might not make it there. Or by the time you get there, if you haven't taken care of yourself, you may not be able to travel. So I'm down here in this beautiful tropical paradise with a beautiful young woman, and we are having a good time. Hey Wade, what's up? Wade is my faithful subscriber guy. Thanks Wade, I appreciate you. I really do. So I got the tropical setting here in the background. They didn't have an ocean view, it was a last minute thing. I decided to come here, I think Thursday. I was going to come down a couple times and then the girl that I was going to bring wasn't quite, anyway, I had to ice it for a while. I had to ice her. So, but she's here now. Can't hear me, she's in the other room. I think I got the door closed. Hope so anyway. But anyway, we're having a good time. I couldn't get an ocean view, so I got this tropical view. Actually, it looks pretty good here on the camera, but the reality is there's a couple buildings back there and there's a big machine running, so you can probably hear it. But the place is beautiful. It's got a beautiful beach, 2 or 3 swimming pools, so you ought to come down here if you get a chance. It's quite laid back. But anyway, my traveling experience, let me see. Oh, John. Hey, what's up, John? Glad you could join me. Yeah, well, if it wasn't for that machine, I think it's the air conditioner. I think they have the air conditioning units running back there or whatever. But other than that, it's great. The beach is beautiful, the sun's shining. This is the rainy season, and they've been having a seaweed problem down here, but they've got some barriers out there so it keeps the seaweed or most of it from getting on the beach. But they still go out there and rake it out. The only problem is the water, like inland or that's close to the shore, is not quite as clear and beautifully blue like it usually is, because all in the water is that seaweed. Now if you look way out across the ocean, you can see where the water is more blue because it's deeper and there's less seaweed there. So other than that, it's pretty cool. We got down here, I got here yesterday. My flight was good. The first flight was just an hour to Atlanta, and I had a quick connection, so I had to kind of run, get on the train, and get to the other flight to the Dominican. So I got here on time as scheduled, and the girl that was coming here to spend the weekend with me, or the few days I'm here, she was supposed to be in like within a half an hour of my flight. Well, her flight got delayed, so she didn't get here till like 10:30 at night. The funny thing about it, because when you travel, things don't usually go as planned. And that's okay, because that gives you some stories to tell. When you look back on those memories, it's more interesting and actually gives you a better memory than if everything went the way you planned. Thank God everything doesn't go the way we planned. So I got down here and I talked to her by WhatsApp, and she said, "Are you going to go to the hotel?" Because at that time she was only supposed to be an hour or two late. Well, anyway, I got to the hotel. I couldn't get in because I put both of our names on the reservation, but for some reason my name wasn't on there. Even though I paid with my card and they knew I paid with my card, they didn't want to let me in. Then you can just keep my money. Well, that didn't work. So nobody wanted to make a decision. Well, then finally this manager guy, wasn't very old comfort, and he said he straightened everything out, so I got to go to my room. Long story short, her flight didn't get in till, God, I guess it was about 9:30, so she didn't get here at the hotel till about 10:30. I had already prearranged for the taxi guy that brought me here to go and wait for her with a sign with her. So that's what he did, and he brought her here about 10:30. Now, I made a mistake, and you don't want to do this unless you have to. I exchanged my money at the airport, and the rates they got are shit. So I ended up getting $50 worth, and I guess, I don't know what they shorted me, but it was probably like 20 bucks maybe, I'm not sure, on the rate of what you get normally. Because when I went to pay the taxi guy, he asked me a certain amount, which was $35 $5, and it took all the pesos I had. So they must. So, and I checked the peso rate. I should have had $50 anyway. I should have had a couple thousand pesos, but that's the way it goes. Live and learn. So the taxi guy got. He didn't get a tip. I gave him a good tip today. He brought her last night, so I gave him a good tip. But most of these people, I noticed one thing here. The people here are really friendly. A little more than what they are in the Bahamas. Aruba's a good place too, but here they seem to be more friendly than most of the Caribbean places that I've been to. So I was really pleased about how nice they were. This one guy that brought me to my room, he was telling me where everything was at. Just had a real great personality, and I asked him what his name was, and it was Juan de Dios, which means John of God. So I wanted to tip him like $5, but I didn't have any change. All I had was a 50. So I took a picture of him. I said, I'll catch up with you later. So later on that night, I found him. I said, hey, are you the same guy I was talking to? And he said, yeah. So I gave him, I think I gave him $5 or $10. But these people don't make much money anyway, and they really appreciate it when you help them. And if they're going out of their way to serve you and to make your time better, why not give them a little extra money? And you cannot do anything to someone. Whatever you give to that person, you're just like giving it to yourself anyway. It's going to come back to you sometime down the road. And think about this, what you're giving them, if it's $5 or $10, it's not much to you, but it's a lot to them. So you will be repaid in the proportion of the blessing you put upon them. So what you're giving them is a lot to them. So guess what? You're going to get a lot more than that comes back to you. Not from these people, but from somewhere down the road. Let me see, Mark, will you be buying any necklaces on the beach? It's not too bad here, but there was a guy, this is not bad here at all. There were several guys that wanted us to take a tour or do the parasail thing, but they only ask you once. You say no, or you do like this. You don't have to say anything, just shake your finger. In Latin America, that means you're not interested. But here, because it's a real nice place, they don't allow those people to harass you. They ask once, and if you say no, they leave you alone. Other parts of Central, Latin America, and South America, they will bug the shit out of you. And sometimes you want to buy something just to get rid of them. I mean, they're pesky as hell. Now on the public beach, this isn't a public beach here. This is a private beach for the resort I'm staying in. On the public beaches, they will drive you nuts. I remember when I was in Cartagena, Colombia one time, and they just wouldn't leave us alone. So I think we finally, I was with this girl here a few years back. I think I paid this lady for a massage. It was like $35 because she was just so persistent. I just wanted to do it to get rid of her. I don't know if she gave me, I think she gave me a massage, or she gave the girl I was with a massage. I don't know what it was, but it was worth the $35 just to get rid of her because she was so persistent. But what you have to remember is these people, that's how they live, that's how they eat. And it's not like in the States where we got food, we can go to the food pantry. I mean, here, if you don't work, you don't eat. It's just that. They don't have all these programs, government programs, different things to help out people. People down here, most of them, if they're poor, they're usually skinny. Now, the mothers might not be, but the kids are because they don't get to eat much. I mean, that's the way it is out there in the big world. And if you've never been out of the country, the U.S., you really don't understand that. Yeah, you might see these in real life or reality when you actually experience the reality. So, although sometimes I get frustrated with some of these people because I just want to relax, I want everybody to leave me alone, I try to remember that this is their livelihood. They're like persistent salesmen, they don't give up. But as I said, these people that are on this beach aren't too bad because they don't allow them to be. Now, they were selling some necklaces here on the resort too, which buy something, if you say no, then they leave you alone. Because the management, I'm sure, doesn't want their guests harassed. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Last night they had a singer going. A woman was singing, and they have other activities out in the, I guess you would call it the courtyard, where the pools are, and I mean, it's like gigantic. And of course they have music down there. They have several types of games they play. There's a giant chessboard here, I guess, where people play chess. So tonight we'll go out and see what's going on, and we're gonna go out and eat. Of course, everything is paid for, so it's all inclusive. Drinks, food, everything is free. You don't have to pay for anything unless you buy a souvenir. Let me see. Mark, John Bragiola, the last time you told me The massage story, you were, oh man, it faded out. Gosh dang it, I lost it. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe I had another massage. It's possible I did. I don't like massages too much, but it seems like I keep getting it. I'm always hoping I'll get that one that I really like. I haven't had one yet that for me was worth the money, but some people swear by them. They're just not for me. But if you can travel, travel. It really broadens your in the world. And like I said, it broadens your horizons. It helps you look at life in a different perspective. Because as I said, in the United States, I've said this many times, we have something to view that is in contrast. You really don't know how good you have it. And to be down here in this place, in the Dominican Republic, and now see the guy, John, the one that was working here that helped me, took me to my room, took my bag. And a lot of times you hear people in the U.S., and I'm sure in other parts of the world, talk about them. See, that's someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, because I guarantee you, I've lived in poor third world neighborhoods, and it's dangerous as hell. And just like God told me yesterday, it's poor there, it's extremely dangerous because of the poverty. Poverty, wealth, and riches. But a lot of times people want to complain about rich people because that way they can look at themselves and say, well, I don't want to be rich, I don't want to be crooked like those people. When the reality is they don't want to put out the effort to do what it takes to become a wealthy man. And as you guys know, if you've heard me talk enough, wealth is much more than just money. Sure, it's great that I can come here and have a good time with a beautiful young woman and enjoy this beautiful resort. But if you're not happy on the inside, if you're not content, if you're not fulfilled, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, you can't enjoy it. If your health's not good, you can't enjoy it. Wealth is well-being. Sure, finances are part of that, but really if you can have a roof over your head and have food in your stomach, anything after that is a bonus. It really is. So we need to appreciate what we have, and many of us in the United States feel entitled. We don't appreciate the safety of the country compared to third world countries. But if you don't know any difference, you don't have a contrast, you really just can't. We can drink the water right out of the faucet at home. You can't drink the water here. First thing John told me was, don't drink the water. Well, I know that because I've traveled to third world countries, but it's true, you can't drink the water. I can go to my house, turn that faucet on, or turn anybody's hose on, drink out of that sucker. I don't worry about anything. But nowadays, kids don't even want to do that because they're used to drinking out of plastic water bottles. I mean, we're spoiling ourselves. We're killing ourselves with comfort and safety. My God, what would life be without some risks? It's like when I got on the plane yesterday. Hey, you take a risk. I'm coming down here. I got in a taxi. Now, that guy could have been a thug or a criminal. He wasn't. You never know, but you got to take a risk. A lot of the people in the U.S. would think that everybody out in Latin America or some of these third world Caribbean countries, they're all criminals. They're all going to kidnap you or mug you or steal from you. And sure, there are people like that. But think about this. If you go to certain parts of St. Louis or Kansas City or Chicago, it's dangerous as hell. You know better than to go there at night in areas or even during the day for other areas. It's no different anywhere else in the world. But if you get on the government website, they'll tell you there's a level 4 warning. Don't go there. Geez, they ought to have one of those in New York. Yeah, put one of those there. They don't do that though. So don't listen to those people. Sure, it's dangerous if you go certain places, but use your head. You're a man. Use the brains that God gave you, and you'll stay out of trouble. And you'll feel good when you're done because you did something. Passports. We don't travel. We stay in our little bubble. We're afraid to get out of the nation. What stands between you and what you really desire? Fear. Fear. If there's a devil, it ought to be doubt and fear, because that keeps you from doing what you really want to do. Every one of you have a dream inside of you, but you rationalize, you logicalize, that's not a word, but I'm going to use it. You rationalize it away. Kids get out of school. Well, I don't know about going down to Latin America. They kidnap people down there and the drug cartels down there. You don't think we got a drug cartel in the U.S.? Where do you think those drugs are going to? Cities all throughout the U.S. and they're distributing them. Okay, and the cartel does that. Fear is good to deal with. Yeah, face fear and it will disappear. Good point, Wade. That's the deal. Fear. You get a great opportunity. What stands between you and that great opportunity? Walk through the fear to fulfillment of your desire. Every bridge of incidents that arises when you have a written goal is going to come with fear. Think about it like this. You're crossing the bridge, and under that bridge is a big old troll, right? So you got to try to get across that bridge without that troll getting you. In this case, the analogy is that troll is fear. And actually, trolls aren't real. Fear isn't real either. But it's a powerful thing if you allow it to control your life. And it will destroy your dreams, your desires, and your hopes. If you want to travel and you're not, why aren't you traveling? If you have the money to travel. You may not be here next year or next week. I had a friend that worked his ass off all his life. He did travel though. He liked to go over to get 2 or 3 girls and just shack up with them for 2 or 3 weeks. He did travel, but anyway, when he got time about to retire, I think he was 52, he got cancer, died in about 6 months. But I will say one thing about him. I'm sure he looked back on his life and had some great memories because he lived his life. Most people are dead before they're ever buried because they never do what they really want to do. Excuse me. They're always coming up with excuses, putting it off. You know what someday I'll is? Someday I'll do that. Someday I'll fix that. Someday I'll become that. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll. Most people live on someday I'll. And then when they get to be too old to do things, they look back at their life and they regret. You don't regret the things you did and maybe it didn't work out too good. You regret the things that you wanted to do but you didn't do because you were afraid to try. What's the worst that can happen? You get stranded, miss your plane. Maybe you'll get robbed. I've been robbed before. I'm still here. I've been assaulted before, and I assaulted them back. I mean, that's why I got some stories. That's why I got a good book. Check it out. Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels. And it is the true adventure of me. I only wrote that because John Braciola, who was in the chat, told me I should write a book. He even took the time out to contact a well-known author and put us together at a meeting, and he was going to have that guy write the book for me. But at that time, I wasn't comfortable enough. My mom and dad were still living, and there were some things I really didn't want to talk about while they were still alive. So I didn't do it. But 10 years later, or 9 or 8, whatever, I decided to write it myself, and I did. But I would have never done that if John had not encouraged me. That's why you need friends who encourage you to be something, to be more than what you are, to do more than what you are. You will want to step up to the level of your friends, or step down to the level of your friends if you're hanging around with people who aren't doing anything with their lives. Back when I was 15 years old, I quit school, and I was cleaning a fence row out in the country, and John drove by on his motorcycle. He had a 650 Yamaha. And he took the time to stop, walk up there in the fence row, and talk to me about me quitting school. John is a very well-educated man. He went to college. He has a successful business in St. Louis with quite a few employees. So he's quite wealthy. But back then, we were kind of the same. He was concerned about me because he wanted to see me do something with my life. And he probably seen more potential in me than I saw in myself. So he stopped and talked to me and tried to get me to go back to school. But I wasn't going to go. But you know what that did? That made an impression on me because someone thought enough of me, thought I was important enough that they would take time out of their day to come and talk to me. And at that time in my life, I really didn't feel very important. I didn't feel very good about myself. I had low self-esteem. I drank a lot. I did drugs, chased women. I got my value out of sleeping women, and I slept with a lot of girls, okay? But John, I can't read the chat. It's too small. If I had my computer, I could see it. But as you stopped by there, John, and took the time out to try to help me, motivated me to do that. Because you said that, and many times through the years, people would tell me when I would share, when I would talk at meetings, speak, are adventurous. But when I wrote the book, and people started telling me about it, I thought, well, seeing it from their point of view, I could understand why I thought, it's getting dark out here, why they thought life was adventurous, because they didn't know what was going to happen next. Now, I didn't either when I was living the life, but looking back in retrospect, I know the story. I know the end of the story. Today, I'm happy. I feel like I'm a success. I believe I am. And there are the will-do people and the 4%. Yeah, the few percent that do things. I know that's the problem. People talk about doing things, and then other people do things. I mean, you got to step out there in faith. And what I found out, a lot of the things I didn't seem to turn out very well when I did them. But looking back in retrospect, it happened exactly how it was supposed to get me where I am today. I wouldn't be the person, I wouldn't be talking to you today had not I went through everything, every seeming tragedy, every discouragement, every heartbreak, everything I went through. I would have never written that book. I wouldn't be down here enjoying my life as I am today. I wouldn't have my 6 kids and I just raised here in the last 10 years, and the other kids too. I got a bunch of them. All these things came to pass. I think what is his name? Steve Jobs, is that him? No, who's the guy that died? Anyway, one of the great guys that made computers, Steve Jobs, I think. He said you can't connect the pieces of the puzzle when you're moving forward. You can only connect them and put the puzzle together. You sure don't think, oh, this is great, man. I like this. This is getting me to my goals. This is getting me to where I want to go. No, you're just trying to get out of it. But once you get out of it and get through it, if you go to get you to your goals, to get you to what you have dreamed about, that is, have a dream. As you guys know, I'm a stickler for writing down your goals. Less than 1% of the people have written goals. So if you want to be in the top 1%, just write your goals down. You're there. Look at them every day. Look at them in the morning, look at them in the evening, and when you get a chance throughout the day, think about those goals as if you've achieved them. And start taking actions throughout the day subconsciously. You're not aware of these things. And occurrences, bridges of instances start arising that will bring you to your goal. It's really amazing how it works. I don't really understand it. I just know that it works. But you have to have a goal. If you don't have a goal, you're like the ship on the ocean without a rudder. Every wind that comes along, it's blown this way and that way, and it never gets anywhere because it never had a destination. In life, we have storms and high winds. And if you don't have a goal and you're not set out in a direction, guess where you're going to go? You're going to go everywhere. One crisis to another, one crisis to another. And you never get anywhere. You just keep getting yourself out of crises. When you have a goal that arises, is part of you achieving your goal. If nothing else, it will build the character you need so when you achieve your goal, you won't self-sabotage it. Many people want this great success, but they can't handle it right now, and they're not willing to go through the character building to get them to the point where they can accept the millions of dollars, the fame, whatever it is they want. If you get that goal without the character, you cannot maintain it. You have to have the consciousness of the person who has or is what you want before you can attain it, before you can actually draw it into your life. And if by some happen chance of luck you get it, you will not be able to keep it because you don't have the consciousness to maintain it. I'm about to get darked out here. Wade, thanks for joining me. John, thanks for joining me. I will see you guys later. Be sure to check out my books on Amazon, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, and The Power is Within. And one of the reasons I came down here was to start on my, well, I had started on my third book, but I'm rewriting it. I'm starting over. And I'm doing this in a different way. It's not going to be a very long book, but it's going to be the way of men and women. I'm not sure if that's the title's going to be, but I'm writing this to help young men to learn how to relate to women in regards to dating. So, hey Wade, thank you. So, I started on that yesterday. I think I'm on chapter 3 now. I'm going to write this in chapters, and I'm just going to go about it in a different way. And actually, I'm inspired by Afi Kingdom, because he's written like, I don't know, 17 books or whatever. So him and I have been talking quite a bit. And by talking to him, it's inspired me, because I hadn't written on it for over a year, it's inspired me to start this again in a way that I can finish it up and then publish it and put it out there to help some young people, because I know many young men are lost in the dating world. And I've had a lot of experience with women, short-term relationships, long-term relationships. I've been married 4 times and one-night stand relationships. So I have a lot of experience with women. I'm going to share with you guys that will help you to relate with women better and go out there and get some real life experience with women, as opposed to internet or porn or whatever a lot of guys do nowadays, and they opt out of really meeting girls and talking to girls in person. So check out the 2 books I have now, and then this other book when it comes out. I don't have a published date, but I can put one out there, but we'll just see. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm about darked out here. Thanks for joining me. Check out my website, marksinspiration.com, and Instagram at Mark's Inspiration. Take care. Thanks for joining me. And a shout out to Afi Kingdom, John of Modern Life Dating. Who else? King Dre. And I know there's another one there. Lawrence Adams, and Glenn Lawrence. Take care. Have a good evening.